Hello and welcome to the show. Now, one of the great things about property in this country is the variety on offer. There really is something for everybody.
But knowing where to start looking can feel like the biggest challenge.
Yeah, well, one option is to head down to your local property auction.
Bidding at auction can be really exciting, and lots of people get carried away and end up bidding more than they intended.
But it can go in your favour because good deals are there to be had. Let's see what the buyers bought on today's show.
In Swansea, I see a house that I think isn't too rough.
It's got everything you need to be a really fantastic family house. Yeah.
Whereas near Bolton, Martel likes the bark that comes with this lot.
If you wanted to use this land as your garden, you've got some gorgeous mature trees.
We'll also catch up with her in County Durham. So has she sniffed out a bargain?
The guide price was pretty low, just £5,000. I'm not sure what we're going to find inside.
All these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer. Today, I'm in the second largest city in Wales, Swansea. Sitting on the south coast, this is a great place to work, rest and play.
Well, I'm here to see a 3-bed semi-detached with a guide price of £80,000 plus. But for once, I've brought somebody with me to have a look around. Waffle. Now, they say that dogs have a sense of smell which is 10,000 times better than ours. So probably she's going to sniff out a bargain. What do you reckon? Is it going to be great or rough? Let's have a look. Come on. Yeah. Let's have a look. This way. Waffle. My dog will always come through. That's not a good start, is it? Maybe you knew best. Ah. How did you know that? The side door. Come on. So, what have we got? It looks to be in reasonable condition. This is the kitchen. Obviously, very old and dated. Not exactly massive for a 3-bed semi-detached, but perhaps we could do what I would normally do, which is knock through a few walls and see if we can maybe enhance this space. Because you have got this area here, which has got lots of doors and this little sort of corridor area. And then this room here. Now, wowzers! Look at this! With the brown carpet, it's absolutely perfect, right? The brown skirting boards, brown door, and then the matching wallpaper. It's just fantastic. I would like to see doors out there onto the garden, patio doors. I think that would work really well. And then if you were just to take out this wall here, and then you just have this whole area as like a kitchen, living room with doors out into the garden there, that would be absolutely superb. Because the rest of the house actually works OK. The front living room, for once, I would probably keep separate, certainly if you're going to do that with the back. Partly to keep this. Now, this is extraordinary. At first glance, it's a piece of furniture, but at second glance, it's actually built into the wall. So it's actually almost forming the joint between the two rooms. Now, you could theoretically take it out and open this whole thing up. Obviously, that is an option, but in some ways it's a shame to get rid of that. Somebody's gone to a lot of trouble to build it. What is probably going to bite the dust is this. A very old, very dated fireplace, which, you know, it just doesn't work. OK, well, it's nice to sit in front of, I guess. You want to keep the fire? You want to keep the fire? OK, well, Waffle's vote is to keep the fireplace.
Yeah, Waffle thinks the fireplace is the ultimate accessory in this room. Without pausing, Waffle's off to check out upstairs.
So, upstairs and 3 pretty decent-sized bedrooms, a sort of slightly smaller box room there, good-sized double there, though. Colours make all the difference. The fact that it's been painted this blue colour makes it feel smaller than it actually is. But one thing I'm noticing that's really nice is the floorboards. They seem to be in pretty good nick throughout. So, large bedroom there. A good-sized double towards the back. And then to round it all off, the bathroom. Now, I said about the kitchen downstairs, it really doesn't feel big enough for a big family house. But the bathroom, surprisingly, is a good size. And I think if you rejig the layout, you'll be able to get a shower in that corner there, just update it. And then, you know, great job. I mean, it's got everything you need to be a really fantastic family house. Yeah.
But Waffle's tail might not be wagging for much longer when she hears the next bit of news.
Well, there is one little fly in the ointment in what is otherwise a pretty good property, and that is the fact that it's leasehold, not necessarily a problem in its own right, apart from the fact there are only 44 years left on the lease. And for mortgage lenders, that is a problem. So you need to look at potentially extending the lease or ideally buying the freehold.
To extend or buy a freehold, however, you must have been the owner of the property for at least 2 years, so it can be a time-consuming operation. It also means this place will likely have to be bought by a cash buyer, as the present short lease will make it difficult to get a mortgage. And out in the garden, whilst Waffle is having a good sniff about, there's something else that could end up a right dog's dinner.
One thing I noticed straight away is look at all this concrete and how it's all over the place. Under normal circumstances, I say, you know, whatever. However, the fact it's right by this drain gives me cause for concern. What is going on underground there? And if it's doing that to that, I wonder what it's doing to the foundations of the house. But in terms of the space, it's not bad. Then you've got this fairly interesting kind of Swiss cottagey thing being built at the bottom of the garden. In general, it's a together house, and the garden is a bonus, especially if you've got one of them.
I'm not sure the cat agrees, but something I think we can all agree on is that the golden rule is always to read the legal pack, or you could end up with your tail between your legs. I really hope this property's bark is worse than its bite.
Barking like a big dog. Barking like a big dog.
We've asked along a local estate agent to see what she thinks of this property and what would be best to do with it.
The current layout of the property is good as it stands. However, if I were to purchase this property, I would probably knock through from the kitchen into the reception too and make a nice modern family open plan kitchen diner.
And when fully renovated, what does the estate agent think the resale value could be if the buyer decided to sell on?
Once renovated to a high standard, I feel that this property could probably achieve offers in the region of £140,000.
And if they decided to rent it out, what figures could they be looking at?
Once completed, this property would probably achieve between £550 to £600 per calendar month.
Well, make no bones about it, I think this is a good one to go for. What do you reckon? Waffle thinks it's the dog's doodahs. Let's find out who bought it when it went under the hammer.
This lot was part of a remote auction, with bids taking place online.
Well done.
The hammer came down at £105,500, and that winning bid was made by Mark. He started renovating property full-time after giving up work as an electrician. While Waffle carries on exploring the garden, I'm keen to find out what led Mark to buy this house.
Mark, good to meet you.
And you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was it then particularly about the house that you liked?
When I came to view the property, it just looked a bit tired, a bit dated, needed freshening up. Obviously, the kitchen and bathrooms are quite old. But, you know, there's quirky little items like, you know, the dresser is being used as a stud partition wall at the moment, which I've never seen that before. But yeah, there's nothing that scared me about the place, you know.
OK. Tell me what you're going to do to it then.
Windows and doors will have to be changed throughout the property. And we'll be looking at possibly changing the window door, patio door or French door and creating like a decking area at the back there. Obviously the kitchen and bathroom need doing. Things like the fireplace will be taken out just to give a bit more floor space. And just modernisation throughout. I think you probably need rewiring.
What about outside at the back? Because I was a bit concerned there's quite a lot of subsidence, isn't there, of the concrete and cracking. What do you reckon that is?
To be honest, I think it's just a badly laid path.
Okay.
On the coal reports and the other reports that were in the legal pack, there was no mention of anything untoward. The biggest concern was the fact that the lease was very, very short on it.
Yes.
But that the freehold could be bought.
Oh, wow.
Because the previous owners already set the ball rolling, I contacted the freeholder and asked them, could I continue with this if I was lucky enough to win the bid? And they said yes.
Have you agreed an extension cost?
Yes.
How much?
9,000.
And that extends it to what, by 99 years?
No, it's to buy the freehold.
Oh, to buy the freehold?
Yeah,
Not extend the lease?
No.
Oh, wow.
That £9,000 for the freehold will come out of Mark's total budget of £20,000, leaving him with £11,000 to hopefully do everything else. But what about his timescale?
I'm hoping to get it done in sort of 8 to 10 weeks.
OK.
I treat it as a full-time job, so I'll be here at 7 in the morning, tend to put the radio on, and I'm here till 5 at night.
Wow.
And just, plough on with it. And I like to do it in a way that you get rooms finished, and then you can sort of close the door and say, right, that one's done, let's move on to the next one.
So you actually physically doing some of the work?
All of it, mainly.
All of it?
Oh, there are some things, and I have to get people in, like plastering and all that.
Yeah.
I'm a bit heavy-handed for plastering, but kitchen fitting and all that, that's not a problem.
Great. Well, listen, we wish you all the best.
Great, thanks very much.
Good luck with it, and we look forward to seeing how you get on.
Great, thank you.
Well, great news for Mark that he's managed to negotiate to buy the freehold of this place. That in itself is a major gain. He also doesn't seem too concerned about the problems or potential problems at the back. How will he get on sorting it out? You can find out later in the show.
Just 3 miles outside Bolton town centre and close to the village of Little Lever is where Martel was in May 2019.
To see a plot of land that came with a guide price of £37,000 and also planning permission to build a detached 3-bed bungalow. It's a lovely residential area. Looking forward to seeing this one. Let's go look. Well, this is a good size of land. The 0.1 doesn't do it justice. 0.1, if anything, doesn't seem too big. But 0.1 acres, it's substantial. You know you've got planning permission for one house. And if you wanted to use this land as your garden, fantastic. And you've got some gorgeous mature trees, also giving you a bit of privacy. But with a developer's head on, you could easily fit 2 houses on here. The only thing is, you'd have to go back to the drawing board, so reapply for planning permission and start the process again, which can be a lengthy process. The only downside I'm spotting, well, did you see how far I came down? There is a bit of a dip here.
So gently drifting down, but coming up the same.
And with that all-important planning permission in place, this seemed like a good site to sink some money into.
When buying a plot of land, there are some key things to look out for. Let's start with the positives. With this plot of land, does it have planning permission? Yes, it does. Big tick. Does it have easy access? By that, to utilities, I mean your water, your electricity. We're in a highly residential area here, so that's good. Also, there's a good road here, so access for vans and contractors to come in.
It was, however, a leafy plot which may have been lovely to look at, but came with potential issues, as any would-be developer would need to do a wildlife survey and make sure there weren't tree preservation orders on any of the trees, all of which would need to be checked by talking with the local council.
But the great thing here is that these trees are located, well, they're not in the middle of your plot. They're over there. There's still plenty of room to be getting on with things, even if you have to keep them. And frankly, why would you lose them?
So the trees were maybe destined to stay. But who was going to stump up some cash when it went to the auction?
freehold parcel of residential development land, approximately 0.09 acres, benefits from planning consent for the construction of a new 3-bedroom detached dormer bungalow. What should we say on this one, ladies and gentlemen? 35 tempt anybody with a bid? Or about 30 then? At £30,000, you will, sir. At 30,000, can I say 35? At £30,000, I have 35 right at the back. I've got you. 40, sir. 45. Looking away from me. Bids here.
The price of the lot continued to rise, and we rejoin with bidding at £50,000.
£50,000? 50,500, sir. No. At £50,000, then bid with me from the start. For the first time at 50,000. Second time at £50,000. 50 and a half, you're back in. 51. 51 and a half. No, quite sure. Count it down again then. 51 first time, 51 second time, third and final time. It is yours, well done.
And it was Aki who made the successful bid of £51,000. He intended to build the 3-bedroom bungalow which was planned for on the plot as his own family home. But it was his friend and project manager Mano who met Martel back at the site.
Mano, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On your plot of land.
Yes.
I want to know a bit about you, Mano. What's your background?
Well, I'm a wallpaper designer, but I love building. That's why I've come to find friends and families who need my help to build a house or a property right from ground zero.
Tell me why they came to you. You must have done good jobs in the past for other people.
I have.
Good, like it. Yeah. Good, tell me about it.
Yeah. It's just a few projects that, first of all, I built for myself, then friends and families, and friends of friends. They came round, had a look to see what, how I actually finished it. It's not just to build the 4 walls and put a roof on. The appearance of the house, especially the garden, it's got to look spot on.
Mano had been a wallpaper designer for many years, but with the advent of digital imaging, he'd found work in that area had declined, so was now applying his eye for detail and design skills to turn what was on paper into a reality.
What's the plan for the design of this bungalow, Mano?
Well, we can't really deviate too much from the original plans. First of all, the property's got to be built pretty much the same colour and the bricks as the next door. But what I would like to do is I would like to put a touch of stone as a band, just to make it update a little bit and make it a little bit more modern. And
talk me through, as you go in the front door, what we're going to see on the ground floor and the top. What's the design?
At the moment, it's going through a narrow corridor. On the left-hand side, you've got the kitchen, and further back into the garden, you've got the lounge, the living area, with a fireplace in the middle and 2 bifold doors either side. But everything is been divided into various places. So I have a structural engineer on site to design me an open plan downstairs. Upstairs is different scenario. It's a bedroom, so that's upstairs stays pretty much the same. But downstairs definitely going to be open plan.
Are there any hurdles that you're worried about?
The thing I'm worried about is the ground being so low, but we'll have another company who would check the soil for us as well, just to see that's proper. It's just trying to dig in to the ground and find out to see what's underneath it. Until I know that, then I can put my mind at ease to say, yeah, from that point onwards, I can build it. It'd be no problem.
Mano thought a budget of 150 to 200,000 and a build time of 6 to 7 months should see paper plans turned into bricks and mortar. But when we first went back 6 months later, it looked like Aki wasn't going to be moving in anytime soon.
I'm in trouble, you're in trouble, deep, deep trouble, gonna burst that bubble, and I'm in trouble. save our soul tonight.
They were at least out of the ground, but the real trouble had started when Mano went on holiday to Sicily.
And when I got back, I've got a letter from the council to say, stop working because you have not discharged all the conditions.
Conditions that go with planning are often stringent and detailed, and if you don't adhere to them, then your build can be stopped.
The first one was the bat situation. Bat and newts and some rare birds, apparently. They hibernate in here, so they insisted that we either put some housing within the bricks at the back of this property, or to have at least 2 little boxes for the birds to be placed on a couple of these trees. Then the other one, which was the most expensive one and the serious one, it was what they call the intrusive site investigation. The site investigation started around about 3 months ago. They came over and they dug 5 holes at 4 meters deep.
So what had looked like a seemingly simple plot was much more problematic, and concern that there could be further mine shafts meant further investigations had to be carried out.
There was literally one over there, just outside the actual plot itself. And there's another one, as you can see on the plan here. It was literally in the council's land. Nothing to do with the actual land that we're going to build on.
But the issues with this bill didn't end there, with planning conditions regarding access and the materials used also needing agreement. And with all the delays, the builders had gone off on another project, so Mano's schedule was pushed back by at least 5 months. But despite all that, he was still confident that the complete building, finished and ready to move into, would cost no more than £200,000. So at that stage, was all the heartache and hassle going to be worth it in the end? What did 2 local estate agents think?
I think for resale, we're looking at about £220,000 to £250,000, obviously depending on the finish.
If the property was finished to the specification that I imagine it will, I'd look at placing the property on the market for sale somewhere around about £200,000 to £210,000.
I think he'd be more than happy with it, you know, considering the problem with the intrusive site investigation and so on and so forth. I think he'd be more than happy with it, yeah.
So at that stage, the numbers still added up, and it was now just down to Mano to finish what he'd started. Coming up in County Durham, Martel puts the boot in when it comes to the state of this house.
Just crumbling away. Oh, I like a good kick. Lots of mouldy white damp.
And it's back to the land at Little Lever to find out whether the troubles with the house build have been kicked into the long grass. Time to return to Swansea now, though, and a 3-bed terrace that had some quirky interior design choices that were all a bit of a hit and miss with me.
Look at this! With the brown carpet, it's absolutely perfect, right? Now, this is extraordinary. At first glance, it's a piece of furniture, but at second glance, it's actually built into the wall. What is probably going to bite the dust is this.
But that didn't matter, as the final judgment came from Waffle.
You want to keep the fire? You want to keep the fire? OK, well, Waffle's vote is to keep the fireplace.
According to Waffle, everything in the entire house was absolutely amazing, especially the garden and obviously me. She did suggest, however, looking more closely at the legal pack to see if there was any mention of biscuits. Meanwhile...
Well, there is one little fly in the ointment in what is otherwise a pretty good property, and that is the fact that it's leasehold, not necessarily a problem in its own right, apart from the fact there are only 44 years left on the lease. And for mortgage lenders, that is a problem.
Someone who said no problem to that was Mark, who purchased the house for £105,500 and was way ahead of any legal issues.
The biggest concern was the fact that the lease was very, very short on it.
Yes.
but that the freehold could be bought.
Oh, wow.
Because the previous owners already set the ball rolling, I contacted the freeholder and asked them, you know, could I continue with this if I was lucky enough to win the bid? And they said yes.
How much?
9,000.
Oh, wow.
Extend contractual period.
Mark had set himself a timescale of 8 to 10 weeks to complete the work. It's been 8 months and we're back to see how he got on. Hello there, new house. Mark has scrubbed it up well with new doors, windows and the use of a jet washer and paintbrush. Inside, it's goodbye to the 70s and welcome to a fresh, neutral decor throughout. That means that the old fireplace has gone, sorry waffle, and that really unique wall cabinet is also no more. This has opened up the space into the living room, where Mark has also knocked through to create an open-plan kitchen diner. The dated bathroom has been brought back to life, as have the bedrooms. Mark has also had a new boiler and central heating installed. The garden has had a good trim. And the outbuilding has gained some new units, which I could swear I've seen somewhere before. After some investigation, there turned out to be no issues with subsidence, just some old slabs which Mark has had replaced. It looks like someone's been very busy, but who did all the work?
Most of the work here has been done by myself. I had a little bit of help with a plasterer because I can't do that myself. And then I had a former workmate of mine came and checked the electrics over and signed them off for me. And had a gas engineer in to check the gas was okay as well.
There were quite a few familiar-looking pieces throughout the refurb. How much material was Mark able to repurpose?
I've managed to repurpose quite a few of the bits and pieces from the house, from its original setup. The old fireplace has been reused to create a dwarfed wall on the patio. The kitchen has been moved into the outside building. It was good to use materials again rather than just skipping them.
That must have saved Mark a few pennies from what remained of his £20,000 budget.
The budget on the property hasn't been too bad, actually. The biggest outlays has been the purchase of the freehold. I think we took a ballpark figure of around about £20,000.
It's great that Mark hasn't overspent, but what were the challenges here?
Wasn't really any major problems. I think the biggest issue really was dealing with the removal of the internal walls and liaising with both structural engineers and the local council to ensure everything was done correctly.
So how does he feel about the project now it's all complete?
Overall, I'm really pleased with it. It's exactly how I wanted it to turn out. And the improvements I've made here, especially with the French doors and everything, has just completely opened up the house. And it's just completely different to what it was before.
And what does he plan to do with the property?
It's going to be offered straight back to the sales market and hopefully achieve a quick sale. And then I can move on to my next project then.
Hold your horses, Mark. We'd better get the opinion of a local estate agent before it goes back on the market. We've invited back the agent from our first visit to see what she thinks of the renovations.
So this is my second time in the property and I think the changes are phenomenal. What the owner has done with the downstairs layout is fantastic. The main selling points of this property, I think, is going to be the open plan kitchen diner, the modern and neutral decor throughout. In this area, there's a massive demand for 3-bedroom semi-detached properties, especially with the off-road parking.
So what sales and rental figures would she place on this house?
If I was to put this on the market to sell today, I would market it at £180,000 to £185,000. For rental, it would be about £800 to £850 per calendar month.
A sales price of £185,000 would mean a pre-tax profit of £59,500. How does that sound, Mark?
I think she's bang on. I think the figures are what the market is expecting at the moment.
And rent of up to £850 a calendar month could mean an annual yield of over 8%. Do those figures tempt Mark towards letting the property?
I think the figures are pretty fair, but it was never on my agenda to rent this out at all. It was always for the resale market.
So apart from all this property business, what else does Mark have in the pipeline?
Shortly, within the next few months, I'm due to become a grandfather for the first time. So I got that to look forward to, and hopefully she'll give me a hand on the next project.
This is Bishop Auckland in County Durham, known affectionately as Bish Vegas. The town maybe lacks the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, but it does have impeccable Hollywood connections, as it was here famous comedian Stan Laurel spent his childhood years. I hope the next property doesn't end up another fine mess.
I'm around 5 miles from Bishop Auckland in this really pretty little village of Evenwood, even prettier on a sunny day. And I'm just off one of the main roads that leads through the village, and I'm here to see this 2-bed terraced house. Well, I do like this stonework. It's very, very attractive. Also, as first impressions go, pretty good. The windows look in good condition. But the guide price was pretty low, just £5,000. I'm not sure what we're going to find inside. What do we have here? Stairs leading up, then through to a reception room. Well, as first impressions go, and I wasn't expecting too much for that very low guide price, it's not half bad. The fabric of the place feels pretty solid, and it's bright, it's light. Somebody's done some of the work for you, so they've started to take off the wallpaper. An old-fashioned gas heater has been ripped out. You do have central heating, and you want to make sure that's safe, but so far, it looks like you just need a hefty cosmetic upgrade. Good news. Through to a second reception room. Because it's in the middle of the property, it feels a little bit darker, but there is a window bringing in some light, which is not always the case in a middle reception room. Yes, you need to do more work here. For example, this gas heater is extremely dated, probably not safe, needs to come out. But looking around, the proportions again are really good. Now, you have some damp here, pretty low down, just crumbling away. Oh, I like a good kick. Lots of hairy, mouldy, white damp, and you want to get a damp specialist in to find out what the root cause is here. These walls, I'd say these were the former exterior walls, the original outside walls to this property. So originally it would have been a traditional 2 up, 2 down, 2 rooms downstairs, 2 up, and this would have been your kitchen. Now it's a reception room. However, an extension has been added. Okay, it's not the biggest, it's certainly not the grandest, but it's big enough to get in everything you need. What a difference. A brand new, shiny, swanky kitchen would make here. A kitchen can transform a property. In terms of layout, with your 2 reception rooms and the kitchen, and in terms of feel, this place is really good.
And seen from the back of the house, it's clear the extension has added space upstairs too, housing the bathroom, which would have traditionally been located on the ground floor. The outdoor area has been sacrificed to gain the extra room indoors, but you still have a bit of space to sit outside.
Upstairs, along a bit of a hallway to your bathroom, or as it currently is, a shower room, or maybe more of a wet room. Me, I'd always fancy putting a bath in if you could, and I'd say there is room here. You would put your shower over it. It's always nice to have a bath in your house. To the back of the house, you have a small-ish double bedroom. You could definitely fit a double bed in there, and you've got an L shape going on. Then through to, at the front of the house, a really big master bedroom. This is a terrific size. You have a cupboard, which is really spacious, almost a walk-in wardrobe, super handy. Love this chimney breast, it feels so solid. And that's the thing with this house, the fabric of it just feels really solid and the layout works. It's a good house.
Time to hear what a local estate agent thinks of this house, guided at just £5,000. But first, can he tell us more about the village of Evenwood?
It's got that semi-rural feel to it, so it's a great place if you want to have loads of dog walks and lots of time outside. Very popular at the moment with buyers. It's got lots of amenities at hand. It's got a couple of supermarkets. It's got a doctor's surgery, schooling, everything that you'd want really in a village.
And thoughts on the house itself?
I think that despite its current state, it could easily be renovated and turned into a lovely little home. I would suggest skimming the walls to bring them up to a good standard, refitting of kitchen and refitting of the bathroom, some new flooring, and I think once that's done, it's pretty much ready to go.
And once renovated, what could this two-bed terraced house be worth?
On completion, I think that this property would sell for £70,000, and I think it would rent for £400 per calendar month.
This terrace is a lot better than I was expecting. Yes, it needs a complete refurb, but I'd be amazed if it went for anything near that £5,000 guide price, because with a cosmetic overhaul, this could be a charming wee home. Let's find out who agreed when it went to auction.
This lot was sold at a remote property auction with online bids only.
And gone, online.
The successful bid of £44,000 was made by retired interior designer Sergio. As well as sharing his name with the godfather of spaghetti westerns, this Sergio has also worked with Clint Eastwood. Martel met him back at the house to find out more.
Sergio, pleased to meet you.
And you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Interesting name, good name. What's the origins?
Well, I'm Italian. I came here in 1964. I grew up in Putney and Wimbledon. Very much a South London boy, shall we say.
So tell me what's happened from then until now.
I was in the music industry for some years and then progressed into interior design. And as my profession, I would fit out new build flats and hotel rooms.
Now, music industry that you worked in before interior design, what did you do in music?
Management, reggae bands, in fact.
Amazing. And how did you get into that?
Well, quite by accident, because a friend of mine had a sound system. So I started working as an engineer, and I got a good reputation for mixing reggae, and then all the reggae bands wanted to work with me, so that's how it went. And then from that point on, I went into management because they said, can you look after us? We don't really understand what's going on. And that's how it all came about.
Amongst the many reggae acts Sergio managed were Clint Eastwood and General Saint. But for a few dollars more, he made the leap into interior design, and his talent for managing things eventually led him to form a company that carried out large-scale fitting-out projects for hotel chains and house builders.
Sold the company, and I met my wife, and we got married. I got married quite late in life, shall we say, and we just thought we'd have a bit of fun, so we've done that for the last 9 years or so. The sort of natural next step was to go into property, really, which I think if you know a little bit of what you're doing is clearly the way forward.
Had you done any property renovations?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah, I've done probably about 25. Because when I was single, I would buy a property, do it up, sell it on, and then do the next one, thus always getting somewhere bigger and bigger.
Why County Durham? Why here? Why now?
Well, because the prices to buy into property are very low here.
Now, had you seen the property beforehand?
No, I actually saw it the afternoon that I bought it, and all there was a picture of the front of the cottage. And I thought, well, that's quite cute.
And then you come inside, and were you pleasantly surprised?
Oh, extremely, yeah, it was good.
So what are your plans here?
Well, as soon as you go today, my plumber's coming in to fix the boiler, and sort out the bathroom. And then all the walls will be stripped, sanded, painted, carpets in.
New kitchen, new bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any changes to layout at all?
No, staying exactly as it is. New doors upstairs, but beyond that, really, it's good to run as it is.
Okay, and what's your budget?
I'm hoping to come in around 5,000 to 7,000.
I did notice a spot of damp. Have you had that looked into?
That's next door, because there was no gutter next door, so the water ran down the walls. So now that I own next door, I can resolve the problem.
Hold on, you just dropped that into the conversation. Now you own next door.
Yes, oh yeah, I bought that yesterday.
You bought... Just as you do. So are you going to do that as a job lot, do both together, and then rent them both out?
Yeah, so they have a choice, that one or that one.
How long is this going to take you, Sergio?
That's a little bit of a problem to answer because trades at the moment are very, very busy. And I've been told sort of lead times are maybe to 3 to 4 months. The plumbing and the bathroom, no problem. Anything else I may have to wait. So I'm saying 3 to 4 months, hopefully less.
Very best of luck. I can't wait to see the results.
Thank you.
What an interesting life story Sergio has, from music management to interior design to 9 years of fun in Italy, and now he's back in business to renovate this 2-bed terraced home in County Durham. And he's not going to stop there. He's got the hunger and the passion to work hard back. I can't wait to find out not only how he's going to get on here, but what else he's been up to. I bet there'll be a few surprises. You can find out later in the show.
Well, we saw how our first buyers got on earlier on in the show, but what about the other two?
Will they come up smelling of roses or something a little less pleasant? Let's find out.
Back now to a bit of land just outside Bolton, in the village of Little Lever, that we first saw in May 2019. And at that stage, it seemed to have a lot going for it as a building plot.
Let's start with the positives with this plot of land. Does it have planning permission? Yes, it does. Big tick. Does it have easy access? By that, to utilities, I mean your water, your electricity. We're in a highly residential area here, so that's good. Also, there's a good road here, so access for vans and contractors to come in.
There was one potential bugbear, though, to do with the trees on the site that might have a TPO on them, a tree preservation order.
The great thing here is that these trees are located, well, they're not in the middle of your plot. They're over there. There's still plenty of room to be getting on with things, even if you have to keep them. And frankly, why would you lose them?
Yes, the trees offered a lovely backdrop for the already planning permission approved 3-bedroom bungalow. The land was bought for £51,000 by Aki, but it was project manager Mano who was going to oversee the bungalow build.
Talk me through, as you go in the front door, what we're going to see on the ground floor and the top. What's the design?
At the moment, it's going through a narrow corridor. On the left-hand side, you've got the kitchen, and further back into the garden, you've got the lounge. Everything is been divided into various places. So I have a structural engineer on site to design me an open plan downstairs. Upstairs it stays pretty much the same, but downstairs definitely going to be open plan.
So they did have some minor adjustments to the plan, but in essence they were looking to build the approved 3-bed bungalow at a cost of £200,000. And Mano hoped it would be complete for Aki to move into 7 months later. But when we first went back 6 months later, well, it wasn't quite going to plan.
I've got a letter from the council to say stop working because you have not discharged all the conditions. The first one was the bat and newts and some rare birds. Apparently they've hibernated here. Then the other one, which was the most expensive one and the serious one, it was what they call the intrusive site investigation. The site investigation started round about 3 months ago, they came over and they dug 5 holes.
And after 5 holes, an extensive look at the ground, a mining report, installation of bat boxes, and a wait for the nesting birds to leave the site, finally Mano and his building team got the green light to start building again. So is Aki's wait for his new home over and this build, beset by problems, complete? Well, over 2 years have elapsed since we last visited, and now we're going back to find out.
I'm on my way from misery to happiness. I'm on my way from misery to happiness today.
Well, it certainly is on its way, but it's not finished. So where are things at, Mano?
Once we got it watertight, we asked the plumber to come and do the first fix, and also the electrician. Once the first fix has been done, then we started plasterboarding. And the second fix is not quite completed yet.
No, not quite. But you can see the open plan layout downstairs with a kitchen diner planned at the rear and the lounge at the front. And on the upper level, what will be 3 bedrooms and a bathroom are definitely taking shape.
I'm on my way.
As is the veranda at the back.
I'm on my way.
But with rising labour and material costs, Mano and owner Aki had to change their approach to the build.
The owner, he's done a lot of work himself because the tradesmen he found it quite expensive now, so the owner has done a lot of work himself, yeah.
Well, the plus side is that Aki has very much made it his home by his hands-on approach, and he's saved a lot of money. But the downside is it takes so much longer. He did at least have Mano to guide him.
This actual project has been, I'm not saying doing it as a favour, but he's a friend of mine. He has done me a lot of favours, so I'm just returning the favour to him, trying to finish off this project for him.
Yes, so at least Aki has Mano to help and advise. But working collaboratively on this project, how much longer is it going to take to complete?
It shouldn't take that long. I think at the most 3 months, another 3 months will be finished, even though he's doing a lot of work himself.
So that would mean 3 years after the site was first purchased, Aki will have the home he was after, but at what cost? Well, the original £200,000 budget has been spent, but they think it will take another $50,000-ish to get it finished. With that £51,000 purchase price of the land at auction, bats, birds and newts notwithstanding, the 3-bed dormer bungalow with garage should be fully finished for an all-in price of £300,000. So what does the estate agent who saw it when it was just a piece of grassland think of what's here now?
Really impressed with how it's been built. Really like the fact that there's 3 double bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom and an ensuite. For families, the open plan living is a real must nowadays. Personally, I would have put the lounge to the back of the property just because there's so nice open views, and I just think it would have been a lot better at the back.
Well, personal preference, I suppose. I really rather like having a kitchen at the back so you can look out into the garden when cooking. But what value would this £300,000 investment be likely to achieve once completed to a good standard?
So once the owner's completed the project, I would value the property at offers in excess of £300,000.
OK, so currently it's not looking like it will be a money-making venture. But then it wasn't totally about that. It was about a friend helping a friend to get a step on the property ladder. So from that point of view, how does Mano feel about this project now?
It's great, you know. It's from obviously the owner's point of view. It looks like a house, and it was a piece of land before, so it's quite different. Yeah, it is great.
All will be great when it's finished. Back now to County Durham and just outside Bishop Auckland in the village of Evenwood, where Martel found a property at an unbelievable guide price.
Just £5,000. I'm not sure what we're going to find inside.
Too good to be true. Too good to be true.
Oh, clearly it was a come-and-get-me guide price, but there did seem to be plenty to come and get, with a decent layout, 2 bedrooms and an upstairs bathroom. Yes, there were signs of damp, but on the face of it, well, it did seem...
Too good to be true. Too good to be true.
And the man attracted by the guide price and who decided, even at a £44,000 hammer price, that the house still had a lot to offer was Sergio. And Sergio brought a lot to the table, having worked in the music industry and as an interior designer. And after enjoying a bit of time away in the sun, he thought it was time to get back to work.
The sort of natural next step was to go into property, really, which I think if you know a little bit of what you're doing is clearly the way forward.
I did notice a spot of damp. Have you had that looked into?
That's next door, because there was no gutter next door, so the water ran down the walls. So now that I own next door, I can resolve the problem.
Hold on, you just dropped that into the conversation. Now you own next door.
Yes, oh yeah, I bought that yesterday.
You bought... Just as you do.
So, no problems with the neighbours then, but he did need to get this house in order. And to do that, he'd earmarked a budget of £5,000 to £7,000 and a 3 to 4 month timescale. Now, 3 months on, we're back. Well, it's looking good so far. I like what you've done to the place, Sergio. He might not have made any layout changes, but this 2-bed house is looking so different. Well, it all looks up and together. So was it all quite straightforward then?
Well, it's been a longer journey than I first expected, because we thought it was just going to be a simple, straightforward refurb, but instead we discovered endless problems, really.
Oh dear, it does seem things were too good to be true.
Well, the roof in particular was very interesting. Many tiles replaced, flashing, repointing, all done.
And it didn't stop there.
We went in the kitchen and all the plaster fell off there, so all that had to be replastered. A great deal of the rest of the ground floor had to be replastered.
And that still wasn't the end of the issues.
And then we had some very strange gas appliances that had been attached to the walls that we had to remove, fill in the holes. And it just seemed an endless list of work that we had to do.
Oh dear, so clearly this refurb wasn't as straightforward as it first appeared. Perhaps one bit of good news, though, was owning next door did help sort out the damp issues.
The whole of the back wall was absolutely saturated with water, so clearly we immediately fixed the guttering. We've had heaters on and dehumidifiers in next door, so we've sorted the problem out now. and all the damp's gone. But the damp had actually come through into this property, into the back room, and that sorted that out as well. So it was a good move probably to buy next door as well.
So there was a lot more to this project than met the eye. But with local tradesman Sergio project managing and his wife Angela doing the painting and decorating, finally he's got the house he wanted. But at what cost?
Considerably more than I'd hoped, really, because I thought probably around 6,000 or 7,000 would have covered it. We're in the region of 11,000 to 12,000 that we've spent.
Well, that's not surprising considering all the issues with the roof, plasterwork and the rest that Sergio found here. That £12,000 spend on top of his £44,000 purchase price does take now his total to £56,000. So was it money well spent? What does the agent that saw it last time think?
I think it's been done to a very good standard. I like the style, I like the finish. I think it will prove popular with both buyers and renters. The room sizes are generous, the finish is very, very good all the way throughout. Both the kitchens and the bathroom are well fitted and very user-friendly.
Sergio hasn't made up his mind whether to rent or sell. Maybe the numbers will help him make that decision.
I think a rental price for this property would be £425 per calendar month.
That's rather low, because I was hoping more towards the 500 a calendar month.
Well, even the £425 per calendar month would see a rental yield of 9%. That's not bad. But perhaps the sales value for his £56,000 investment will be more to his liking.
Our place is on the market at £70,000.
Again, I think that's a little low. I've seen them sell locally very, very similar to this for around 75. So I would aim for 75 and hopefully get somewhere in between what he reckons and I reckon.
Well, 70 or 75,000 would see Sergio net a £14,000 to £19,000 pre-tax profit. So have the numbers helped make up his mind?
Probably I shall sell this one, I think, because of the amount of effort that's gone into it, and it's fresh to the market, absolutely brand new. If I'm going to sell it, this has to be the time to sell it.
OK, so sell it is. But if Sergio had his time again, would he have bought this house?
Now you know what I've been through.
Well, with hindsight, it's easy to answer. Probably not, no. However, it's worked out OK.
Yes, it sure has. But it just goes to show that sometimes things aren't quite what they seem.
It's always fantastic to see when a property renovation ends in a positive result.
Yes, but that's something you can't take for granted, as we've seen many times over the years here on Homes Under the Hammer. So join us next time for more auction stories.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Streetwear designers compete for fashion stardom. New from BBC Three, The Drop, hosted by Clara Amfo. Watch now on iPlayer. Everyone's still upset. The hurt that Gray has caused continues here tonight on BBC One. EastEnders at 7:30.